What's up, y'all? You rocking with Moochie, and this is Moochilla's Review. So hit the hammer, cause you came through. Ew. If you're finding my channel for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. Ew. What's up, y'all? It's Moochie, and I'm back with another video. I'm talking about American Gigolo Season 1, Episode 3. The name of the episode is Rapture. So I'm going to give y'all a little recap. We're going to talk about maybe some clues, possible predictions. So let's get into it. Ew. So this episode starts out with a flashback of young Julian. And this is when he first meets Olga. And when his mother basically sold him to Olga. So I think he's trying to figure out what happened, and Olga is trying to break the ice with him, and she breaks the ice with him by letting him drive her Rolls Royce. What other way could you do with a teenager? So that's basically what she did. So the queen is laid to rest. Julian, Isabel, and Lorenzo are at the funeral, at the burial site, and they basically talk about what the queen meant to them, how she was a mother, a teacher, a warden, and a pimp, and also a liar. So it's like they don't even know how to grieve for this woman, because they have like a love-hate relationship, all of them, with Olga, aka the queen. As Julian is leaving the funeral, he's greeted by Detective Sunday, and she has some questions for him at the burial site. Like, would you want to know why this young woman was murdered? Do you want to know why the queen was murdered? Do you think it's quite a coincidence that she was murdered soon as you got out of 2 days after you got out of jail? And he was like, you're a detective, detect. I would have said that to her too. How you coming to me with all these questions? And if I was exonerated, why would I commit a murder and I was already cleared of one 15 years later? That doesn't make any sense. You can see it's obvious that somebody doesn't want him on the outside. Next, Isabel stops Julian. She walks right in front of his car and stops him. And they still have like a playful banter with them too. But she was like, are you still mad? Are you mad enough where you don't want to come back to work? So it seems like it was a method to her madness. Like she got him upset to where he wouldn't want to do this type of work again. So let me know what y'all think about that in the comments, or do you think it's BS? But while they're talking, he asked her about the girl Lisa Beck. And this was his high school friend. And he asked her, does she know anything about what happened to her that night? Julian goes to his old high school and he speaks to Mr. Banks, but he doesn't get any answers from her. Isabel didn't have any answers, but he is reminiscing about Lisa Beck. So he wants to know what basically happened to her to cause her demise. So Michelle is back at the house. She's mad at Richard still because he sent Panish and some other goon to look for Colin. And Colin's still missing and they have no word of him. But she does get a call from Chris Shannonhouse and he wants to meet up with her. So Chris Shannonhouse meets up with Michelle and he lets her know, look, these are the last charges that she made on her credit card, and it looks like it's a hotel or whatever the case may be. She's never acted this way, so I just hope you find her and you don't hurt her. And she basically assures him that nothing will happen to Elizabeth. Next, we see an old picture of Michelle and Julian. It looks like they have kind of like the same outfit on. And guess who's looking at the picture? Colin. Colin is looking at this picture like he wants some answers. And Elizabeth tells him, staring at that picture will not make your father appear. So Colin goes on this food run, and while he's gone, Panish bangs on the door, forces it open, gets Elizabeth, trying to get Elizabeth to call Colin, and she refuses to make the call. She fights back, and basically what happened is she gets knocked over, bangs her head on the nightstand, breaks her neck, and she is deceased. So she's there laying on the floor. Panish freaks out and he leaves. Colin comes back, sees Elizabeth's body, freaks out and he runs off. He runs off and he goes and hides in a storage closet in a hotel that's basically a couple of blocks over. So meanwhile, Julian is at work and he gets an opportunity to basically better himself as being a chef's assistant, I guess, with cutting up food and things of that nature. But I feel like he adapts to any situation, Julian. He adapts to any situation he's put in. Next, Julian is back at his apartment and he's speaking to Lizzie, and Lizzie thanks him for saving those photos of the neighbor that passed away that house he's living in to look at, and she really enjoyed seeing those pictures, and I like the friendship that is forming between Julian and Lizzie. But while they're talking, Lorenzo comes. Don't know how Lorenzo found his house, but he finds out where Julian lives, and he has all of Julian's clothes from when he was man woman. Okay, so he's like, I got your clothes, we gonna go inside and chit chat or whatever the case may be, and I want you to come to this party tonight. I want you to come to this party, and guess what I got for you? The cocoa. I got the cocoa for you so you could bring out that guy and put that super suit on. And Julian's like, I don't want to do this. I'm not that guy. I'm not putting that on. And he doesn't want to mess with the cocaine either. But Lorenzo leaves it there just in case he changes his mind. This is when I'm not liking this dude. He's like, to me, he knows he knows what cocoa brings out of Julian. What type of person he becomes once he starts sniffing the sugar. Okay? So Julian is still thinking about Lisa Beck, and he's basically racking his mind to try to figure out what chain of events happened to cause Lisa Beck to harm herself. Next, Michelle goes to the hotel where Colin and Elizabeth are staying, Elizabeth Shannon's house, and the door is open. She walks in and she sees Elizabeth's body, and she does the worst thing in the world. She starts touching so much stuff in there. She's trying to get Colin's stuff. She's wiping the walls off. She's touching stuff on the mirror. She's just doing too much, and then she leaves. But when she leaves, guess what's there? That picture of her and Julian. So she gets back to the house and she tells Richard what happens. And she's like, I know Colin couldn't have did this. And he's like, well, he was there and he's trying to figure it out. He know damn well his goons did this. And then here come this mother father Panish. He gonna act like, oh, well, he was the last person there, so everything's going to point to him. Did you touch anything? Did you speak to anyone? Who did you see? And then she mentions the hotel clerk. So Michelle mentions this hotel clerk, and Panish goes, well, now I have to clean up your mess. I want to be like, mother father, you the one that did this. This is your mess. So Panish goes and talks to this hotel clerk, and he gives them one of the Stratton's credit cards. Tell them it's a $100,000 limit and run it up on that bill for that room. So he's basically setting up the frame already, and it looks like it's going to point to who, Julian. Next, Colin is discovered by the housekeeper in the supply closet, but she basically lets him stay there, and she doesn't say anything because she doesn't speak English. So he's going to stay there, and he's still in kind of shock. He's still in shock. Next, Detective Sunday briefs the rest of the officers on Queen and Guy's case. So they're basically trying to get this investigation together, and they're talking about the new cases. And the next new case they're spoken about is Elizabeth's case, how her neck was broken, and then the photo of Julian and Michelle is put up there. Detective Sunday sees this, takes a shot of it, and she's gonna do some more digging with this. Panish goes to see Chris Shannon's house. He lets him know, look, you might not want to open this here, but I'm letting you know that your wife's not okay. He's not saying exactly what happened. And he gives him a lot of money in order to keep for his silence. And he takes the bag. He takes the bag. Now the question is, will he stay silent? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Detective Sunday goes to the Stratton house and questions Michelle. And Michelle basically messes up from soon as she opens the door. She's thinking that Robert has some cops on the payroll and they're there to help them out find Colin. And she starts basically spilling the beans already. And I'm not understanding how Detective Sunday is not catching on that they are already intertwined with this thing that's going on at the hotel. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. She shows Michelle a picture of her and Julian, and she goes, yeah, that's some prostitute I used a long time ago. But at first she was acting like she didn't know him. Yeah, that's somebody I used to use a long time ago. He's just a prostitute. This heifer here, y'all. Meanwhile, Julian think about Michelle and Michelle think about Julian, and he gets a call from Detective Sunday, and then he finds out what exactly Michelle said, that he was just a prostitute. And I think he got in his feelings, y'all. He got in his feelings, and he's about to make some bad decisions, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. So Detective Sunday is looking at all of this, how Julian, Olga, and Michelle are all intertwined in all of this. And it looks like everything's pointed to Julian, like he basically did 2 murders since he's been out of prison. It's not adding up. He's feeling bad about himself. He starts messing with the cocoa that Lorenzo left there. He gets himself, so Julian gets himself ready for the night, gets dressed up, put on the smell goods, looking good, looking fly, walks out of that apartment, into that car he goes, and one of Richard Stratton's goons is watching him, and I believe he's gonna follow him. I'm like, when this ended, I was like, dag, if he would have only stayed in his apartment, we don't know where this is gonna go. So let me know what y'all think in the comments about him. I feel like Lorenzo set him up, so now I'm not liking this dude. So that was my recap of episode 3 of American Gigolo. The name of the episode was called Rapture. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the hammer because you can't block by. Please answer the questions in the comments, and if you don't know what to say, put the hammers up and let me know what y'all think about the video. Later, talk to y'all soon. Ew.